Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never, ever alone. Here on Invisible Condition, we know life can be tough sometimes. We get it. Life can be hard. It's life, we also know that there is always hope. So that's where we like to live. That's where we like to operate, is in hope. So I want to talk just for a second about a couple of things that we've got going on right now that I want you to be aware of, so that you, if you feel so inclined, you can, reach out to us and help us out. We have a nonprofit arm of Invisible Condition. It's called Hydro with Hope, and it is a 501c3 nonprofit that is aimed at helping people that are living with a condition that I was born with, which is called hydrocephalus. And those of us with hydrocephalus, I was born with it, so my first experience with the condition was very, very young. One of the things that is very common for people with hydrocephalus is that we have brain surgery, and we have multiple brain surgeries over our lifetime. And I am no exception. I've had 7 so far. I had my first brain surgery at 2 weeks old. I've had 4 in the last 10 years. My last one was about 3 years ago. It can be a little rough. It can be a little crazy with brain surgery. And so we at Hydro with Hope want to help families that are dealing with that and going through that. And we have resources and that we want to share. And the other trick is the resources we have are not stretching as far as we need them to. And so we have come to a point right now that we are kind of at a critical mass point where the resources we have are not stretching as far as we need them to. And so what I am actively looking for are board members that can help us generate those funds, that can help. And believe me, there are multiple ways to raise money for a nonprofit. And I would love to talk to you about that, about the ways that we're going about it and how you can help. So please send me an email. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Also, we love our advertisers that are on the show. We absolutely love all of you. And we're so glad that you're here. If there is a company out there that wants to get the word out, and what we're doing here at Invisible Condition is aligning with your values and with your heart, and you want to join our amazing group of sponsors and advertisers, I would absolutely love to have a conversation with you. So please email me at invisiblecondition@e360tv.com. I'll send you a link to give me a little more information about you and your company, and let's do it, man. Let's check it out and see if it's a good fit. All right. Now, I am so excited to introduce you to my guest today. Pearl Virmani is going to be with us today, and she is coming to us from India, which is kind of a long ways. This is so cool. You're gonna love this girl. She, despite her young age, I'll let her talk about how young she is. I'm not going to spoil it. She struggled with endometriosis symptoms for years and has only been diagnosed for the past couple of years. She's been dealing with this, but didn't know what it was up until just a couple of years ago, which is kind of common with invisible conditions, honestly. So Pearl shares about, we're going to talk about her challenges of dealing with a medical community that wouldn't believe her regarding the amount of pain that she was experiencing. She went to over 50 doctors looking for relief from her symptoms. I didn't go to over 50 doctors, but I did. I can relate. Doctors don't listen to kids as often. They don't think we know as much, even though it's our body. So I can relate. We'll talk about that. Pearl, though, is determined, and she is very, very much way more than her condition. And she is currently pursuing a degree in psychology and also making an incredibly positive impact on others through her blog, which is awesome. So let's bring her on, get this show on the road here, get rid of that email. There we go. All right. Just making sure I had everything lined up. Okay. Pearl, thank you so much for being here. I feel it's just like almost a year in the making, but we're finally here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This is a wonderful opportunity.
This is so cool. So first thing I want to ask you is something I ask everybody that comes on the show, and I want to ask you as well. On your hardest days, on the days that you just don't want to get out of bed, on the days that are just brutal, how do you still maintain hope?
Well, that day I'm not really able to do anything, right? I sometimes it's so hard for me. I'm not able to eat. I cannot take a shower. I cannot get out of bed. Even going to the washroom, which is literally in my room, that's a struggle. I'd have to call my mother and ask her to, help me. It gets that bad. But then I tell myself every day is not going to be like this. Well, there was a time when my situation kind of, got like that. Every day it was just so hard. I was in so much pain. I was not able to get out of bed. For straight 7 days, it would be like that. But that was before my diagnosis, and I had no idea how to deal with it. But now I have these tools, uh, which really helps me to get on with the day sometimes because it's like I'm having the worst flare of my life, but I have an exam. I have to give it anyways, right? No one is going to wait for me. I'm not going to get a second chance. And I don't think they're going to consider endometriosis that severe. Sometimes people don't even know what that is. So I just have to go on with my condition. I put a heating patch, like a bandage, and I put all the cramp creams like all over my body because everything hurts so much. Take painkillers, and I know how I do it. But I tell myself, whatever I'm doing right now, it's it's going to be all right. I don't think about the present that much. I don't know how that sounds, but my hope is better future. I feel like I can forget about my past if my future is better. And at present, I am working for a better future. So a better future that gives me hope to just go on every day and feel like yeah, tomorrow will be better. It's fine. I'll get through this.
Nice. I love it. See, there is no wrong answer. I love that answer because it's true. Yeah. Tomorrow you can always, there was a guest I had on recently that said, I don't have bad days. I have bad minutes.
Oh
It's like,
yes.
it's not just your whole day isn't ruined just because of one episode or one.
So
So yeah. And the cool thing is that guest, I actually had her dad on talking about her condition. The girl that said that was like 8. So she was wise beyond her years or so. I think she was like 8 or 9 years old. So it was so sweet. Um, so, all right, here we go. Can you take us back to the beginning? What was the first thing that made you realize that maybe something wasn't quite right and there's something going on that you need to get checked out?
I feel like ever since I got my first period, I experienced these symptoms which were not normal. I was told, yeah, it's normal. All girls go through that. For some, it's worse, but it will be okay when you grow up. It's fine. It just happens to a lot of people. And I thought, okay, yeah, maybe it is normal. It's common. And I tried living with it. I was told meds are not good when during your cycle, so avoid that. So I'd go on with the pain without taking any meds. I'd use these home remedies. I'll have this green tea and heating bags and whatnot. But again, I whenever I visit a doctor, they tell me, oh, it's fine. Just eat your greens and exercise a little. You'll be all right. But then, as it was first, it was just days, and then it was months, and then I feel like as the years passed, it started getting worse. When it was like I'm not able to get out of bed for the first 2 days of my period, then it turned into the whole thing. Whole week, I won't be able to get out of my bed. Couldn't go to, I couldn't go to school or do anything literally, and the painkillers were not helping. It was like I'm having candy. It didn't help at all. And the doctors, they were confused. They were like, what is causing her so much pain? And they asked me to, they ran some tests. They did an ultrasound. Everything was normal. They're like, okay, maybe it's your low pain tolerance. Maybe the pain you're experiencing, that's something every girl experiences, and you just have low pain tolerance. Well, it was quite the opposite of that. But finally, when they found 2 cysts in my left ovary, they were like, oh yeah, that's the reason. That must be the reason. And when that happened, for at least 4 to 5 months, they still didn't diagnose me with endometriosis. They treated those cysts as functional cysts, which is like very common these days. And you have to take these the both control pills, oral pills, and you'll be all right in a few months. That's what happens if the size of the cyst is not that big. But I had endometriotic cyst. The name is there. They still did not think about it. And I had no idea about what endometriosis is. But when things started getting worse and the treatment was not helping me, and the size of the cyst also started getting bigger, I was desperate. I started doing my own research. I kind of diagnosed myself. I kind of self-diagnosed, and I know it's not a good thing to do, but I was desperate. I was like, yeah, maybe I have endometriosis. Within a month, I was at another gynecologist, and she diagnosed me with endometriosis.
And she diagnosed you with endometriosis, adenomyosis, and
no, at that time there was no adenomyosis.
Well, there was not adenom. Okay. For some reason, I thought that was part of the story. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
She ran some more tests, and when she was like, okay, yeah, we have eliminated every other option, she must have endometriosis. But again, she was not 100% sure. She just thought it's just the cyst that's causing her pain. But I had endometriosis on in my pelvic walls as well. There were these tissues causing so much inflammation and pain. It was like my whole body is on fire. It was like that. I cannot even explain my pain in words because I never experienced that pain ever. It was something new. To be honest, when the pain started getting worse, it felt like I'm dying. I told my parents, it feels like I'm dying, and they were obviously concerned. A lot of people took it as anxiety. My teachers at school, they thought I have some sort of anxiety, and that's why I am avoiding school and I'm not doing stuff. But then there would be times when I'd go to school and then I'll come back in the middle of the day because of the pain. And at that point, my mom was like, okay, yeah, it's definitely something. It's not just anxiety. But the doctors, they had no idea. So if they were not really able to find something, they were not able to find a reason, they just named it anxiety. And the fact, I don't know, I don't feel like they are qualified to give me that diagnosis. If you are a therapist or a psychiatrist, it's fine if you're telling me I have anxiety, I have an anxiety disorder. But if you are a gynac, you cannot really go ahead and say, okay, it's just anxiety and these are some anxiety pills and you'll be all right. That's not what, that's not what you can do.
Right. Yeah. You got to be careful with that diagnosis stuff. It's there have been people on this. There was one guest in particular that I remember from about a year ago, and she went 12 years without a proper diagnosis. She kept going from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor to diagnosis, and they said, oh, it's this, and then they would prescribe a medication for it. It was the wrong thing, and it wasn't that condition. And they said, oh, well, no, it's this, and they would prescribe some. So, yeah, some of these conditions can be so hard.
Keep telling me, they're like, okay, we're just trying this medicine. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my whole life, I've stopped my life. I cannot try. I stopped going to school. I stopped everything. It was affecting me so much because it's like one thing is you're old and you got sick. You were expecting it. When you're young and you have so many things, where I had so many plans. Once I graduate high school, I'm going to do this and that.
Yeah.
And, I had these plans for my career and everything was just, I don't know.
What's
it's
on
like
hold?
Someone pushed me, pushed me up stairs. I don't know. It just got crazy. But then, yes, later on, after a year, it was so hard, so hard. I cannot even. When I say it was very difficult, I want to emphasize on the word very. I cannot even explain the time when. The one thing is, you know what you have. Another is, I was living with confusion, and I was in pain 24/7, and my doctors were not sure about what I have and everything, and certain tumor markers. They did those tests, and even those were high. So they were like, "Oh, it might be cancer." Now
Oof.
you're living with that diagnosis, that provisional diagnosis, and you don't know what's going on. If you're gonna live another day, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And the MRIs and ultrasounds, it showed nothing.
Yep.
It is of no help. So finally, they were like, "Okay, let's do your surgery. You need a diagnostic laparoscopy."
Oh,
And there was finally the surgeon who was willing to do this, because others were like, "Oh, you're just 17. We cannot really do a surgery like that."
yeah.
But I needed it because the meds were not helping, and I had so many medicines. The painkillers were not helping.
And
At last,
you said this
yeah,
was at 17. How old are you now?
I'm 19.
You're 19 years old. This is all going on during like high school and early college, and
Right.
this is that, like, think about that, everybody. This is like, okay, yeah, like you said, an adult, okay, fine. We've lived some life. We understand what pain is. But when you're in high school, this is not okay. This is not okay. So yeah, this is, oh
People
my
don't
gosh,
take
to
you
be so
seriously.
young.
I feel
Yeah.
like whatever I've been through, that's not really an excuse.
No.
That's an explanation for the things I was not able to do. If I'm not able to go to school, the pain is not an excuse, it's an explanation. I feel like that's how, people should, understand. But yeah, the doctors, my teachers, they didn't take me seriously. They were like, "Oh, maybe she's pretending."
I
I
I
don't
can
know.
I can relate to that 100%. I had, as I was saying, my condition requires brain surgery every once in a while, and when the shunt that's in my brain malfunctions, you have to get it replaced, or it could kill you. And so, at 16 years old, in my junior year of high school, 17 years old, I started having headaches because the shunt in my brain was starting to malfunction, and it continued to do that for 2 straight years. And the headaches got worse and worse and worse and worse over 2 years. And I kept going back to the doctor and saying, "I know what's going on. This is what's going on, doc. This is what's going on. Please do surgery." And they kept doing MRIs and CT scans, and they're like, "Oh no, we need more to compare. We need more to compare. You're a kid. What do you don't know, And finally, after I graduated high school, summer after graduation, they looked at all the scans and compared them and said, "Oh yeah, look what's going on." I said, "What have I been telling you for 2 years?" So I don't fault the medical community for that necessarily. I mean, because most of the time they're probably right. But
Right. But then
you
I think they should first eliminate all the bad things and then consider, okay, it might be something simple. Because if we're
right,
just going for a little stomach ache, and what if it's something else, you might be killing that person. I don't know.
right,
I know they sometimes they know what they're doing, but
sure.
like you said, you were 16 at that time, and they don't take kids and teenagers seriously because I mean they
Not as much. No, I don't know. Maybe it's different now. I don't know. That was almost 30 years ago, So that was 30 years ago. That was 30 years ago. Maybe it's different now. I don't know, but yeah, it's crazy. Well, hey, Pearl, we could keep going and keep going, but we're going to take a short break here. Everybody, I know this story's blowing you away because 19 years old. This is crazy. She's got a lot more to talk about. We got a lot more stuff to cover here. Please don't go anywhere. Stick around. And by the way, everybody watching, thank you for being here. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, comment. If you're like, "Pearl, oh my gosh, I can relate. I can so relate," or "My sister can relate," or "My daughter," or "My mom," or whatever. They've been through this. Just drop a message in Facebook or YouTube, and just or if you have a question, about any part of her story, just drop a message in there, and we can get to it. So everybody stick around, do not go anywhere, and we will be back in just a couple of minutes. I'd love to talk to you a little bit about our sponsor, Dunamis Marriages. And now, struggling marriages often lead to a dramatic sense of disconnection from your spouse that can seem suffocating. Even if your marriage is doing pretty well, there is a way for you to thrive no matter what. Dunamis Marriages believes that God designed marriage to be a lifelong, heart-connected journey. And they're here to help you get there at Dunamis Marriages. Located in Colorado Springs, Colorado, their faith-based marriage intensive has an 83% success rate. I'm going to say that again. 83% success rate. Guiding couples through deep emotional healing and lasting transformation. Why is that important? Because most marriage counseling has a less than 10% success rate, leaving broken hearts and marriages in its wake. Led by Dr. Pauline Dillard, who brings over 42 years of marital wisdom, these marriage intensives are different. Typical marriage counseling is more of a once a week for an hour type of thing that can last for years and really end up getting you nowhere. The intensive model that Dr. Pauline uses brings couples together. Each session lasts about 2 to 3 hours and is conducted over 5 to 6 sessions. The time that you invest in a marriage intensive will combine biblical truth with proven psychological principles to restore communication, trust, and intimacy. At Dunamis Marriages, they don't just treat symptoms. They equip you with the tools to build a thriving, Christ-centered marriage. If you're ready to break free from frustration and rekindle your relationship God's way, act now. Visit DunamisMarriages.com today. That's DUNAMAS marriages.com. And take that first step toward a stronger, more fulfilling marriage. Build your marriage on a solid foundation and enjoy your spouse like you never thought possible.
Hey there. Every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
Hi everyone, I'm Andy.
And I'm Minna.
We're the hosts of Chronically Healthy Life.
Join us Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time on Vitality TV to see how we flip the idea of chronic on its head and create chronic health in our bodies, minds, finances, and relationships right here on E360 TV.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here with Pearl. And if you were here for the first segment, it's a good story. We got some good stuff. If you weren't, go back and rewind the episode and watch it. It's good stuff. I cannot believe somebody has packed so much into 19 years with a condition like endometriosis. I'm sorry. My brain went a totally different direction, and I don't know why I was thinking of something else, but endometriosis, which is a really brutal thing. And so I just want to throw out there, for those of you that are watching, thank you for being here, by the way. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube and you have a question about anything that Pearl says during this episode, throw it in the comments. Just ask her a question, or, just if you want to relate somehow or just comment or anything, That's what
And
YouTube and Facebook are for. What's that?
I was saying, or you can reach me out on my Instagram.
On her Instagram, yes, which is in the show notes. Her Instagram handle is in the show notes, and so reach out to her there as well, and she can get back to you that way as well. I don't know why, for some reason Instagram has never been my friend. I don't. I've never. My wife loves Instagram. I prefer Facebook and YouTube. I don't know. So everybody's got a different thing. But if you reach out to her Instagram handle, which is in the notes here, and we'll go from there. So thank you so much for being here. And we were going to talk, I think before the break or during the break, we were talking about, you wanted to talk about some of the symptoms that you had experienced, because everybody with a condition that's invisible, especially, everybody's an individual. So everybody experiences different conditions differently. Right. So yeah, tell us about that and what that was like. Yeah.
So I feel like there are these certain symptoms, if someone they genuinely have bad periods, there would be symptoms like pelvic pain, back pain, leg pain, nausea, and even vomiting. These are the symptoms, right? But again, they only go through that when they're on their period. It would be day 1 or day 2, and it would be terrible for them. But then eventually they will get better. Now imagine you are going through those symptoms every day. There is no break. Every day you have these symptoms. One day your head will hurt. You have the worst headache of your life. Another, it would be your back or your hip or your leg. So for me, I had these symptoms. I already had these different symptoms whenever I get my period. For example, I never had any allergies, food allergies or food intolerances. But then I think it all started in 2020, I guess. I was not really able to have dairy when I was on my period. Okay, that would cause me, I was not able to digest it, and it would just make my symptoms worse. So I told my mom, whenever I'm on my period, I don't want anything that involves dairy, no milk, especially milk. Milk really, it causes so much pain. So, but that was only when I'm on my period. Once, that's clear, I can have milk or whatever. When my symptoms got worse and all these things became a part of my life, it became chronic. Every day I'm experiencing these symptoms. Every day I have pelvic pain. The food intolerance, that also became permanent. So I cannot have gluten and dairy, because if I'm having these things, it causes, I'm not really able to digest it, and it causes inflammation. And that is what endometriosis can do to you. It affects your gut health so much. It's not just related to your uterus. It affects your whole body, head to toe. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. And the symptoms I had, I remember making a reel about this, Instagram reel, and I was, writing all the symptoms down. It blew my mind. I was like, okay, I have been experiencing all of these things, and sometimes I'm so chill about it. It's crazy, because again, when I was writing it down, my fingers, I got tired. It was like, I've been going through all of that. So one thing is pain. A lot of people have pain only when they're on your period or they're ovulating, but mine was like 24/7. That doesn't matter what's going on. I had chronic pelvic pain. And when your body is in pain, it shows some signs. There are side effects. Yep. For example, you get tachycardic very quickly. You're just sitting and you're in pain. Your heart will start racing for no reason. You did nothing. So that was happening. My blood pressure, was high most of the time because of the pain. The pain also caused, I had nausea the whole time. I was not able to eat properly. I was not able to do anything. The pain. So I had, the problematic area was always the left part of my pelvis. The left side hurt the most. That was, the whole thing hurt a lot, but the left side, that was the area which hurt the most. And I tell my doctor, okay, this is the area where, I think something is wrong. And that is where they found endometriosis. The right side, that was fine. It was just the left side. So since it was the left side, I started experiencing this back pain, very back pain, in my left leg. And I told my doctor, okay, I think this is related to endometriosis, I'm not able to walk. It's very scary. The pain is very bad. And they'd be like, maybe it's not really endometriosis. And they did some MRIs. They were not really able to find anything. Later on, when they did the surgery, they found this little tissue of endometriosis, which was pressing on my nerve. And that caused leg pain.
Oh my goodness.
And my doctor told me, if we have waited like for long, that would have caused a lot of damage to your nerve. And so I was right. This was endometriosis. It was not something else. They did the surgery. They removed the tissue right after the surgery. I'm not even kidding. I felt so much better. I told my doctor, okay, yeah, I'm experiencing pain, the post-op pain. Yes, that's there. But the leg pain, it's gone.
So
it's
so word to the wise, everybody. This is important, because a lot of people that are in pain don't speak up about it. You've got to talk about it, and you've got to advocate for yourself with this, right? I mean, this is what this is about, is you advocating for yourself and talking to the doctors and saying, this is what's going on, guys. This is what's going on. And listen to me. I'm the patient. I'm the person that's living with this, right? So that's, I mean, over the couple of years, you must have gotten really good at advocating for yourself and speaking up for yourself. You'd have to.
That was very important.
Yeah.
I remember initially I had no idea what to tell people. They'd ask me, oh, how are you doing? I had no idea how to answer that.
Yeah.
Every day I'm in pain. What should I say? Oh, I'm doing terrible. I'm in pain. If I go on, I mean, you cannot answer that to everyone. I was not really able to. I was not able to go out. So whenever I actually did, I always had this fear. Okay, what if someone sees me? They're going to be like, she's out. Isn't she sick? I don't know why I had that in my mind, because I was stuck at home for so long, and I had no idea how to explain people. I disappeared from school. Every person was wondering, okay, what happened to Pearl? They would, they started texting me. They're like, oh, what's wrong? I had no idea how to tell them. And that was very hard for me, But then I decided to make an account, social media account on Instagram. And I started talking about this condition. And I had no idea how supportive, these people are going to be. People from my school, they were so supportive. They liked it so much. They started following me immediately. And I feel like, okay, this is something I can do. I have had conversations with people, older women, in their 30s and even 40s. They have experience, so they have endometriosis and they have no idea what that is. Yeah. And then they're talking to a 19-year-old who, fortunately, I do have an idea what this is and how it can affect you so much. It can get so bad. It can disable you. And a lot of people might think, oh, it's just related to your uterus. No, it causes so much inflammation. Those tissues cause so much inflammation. It's your nerves, the nervous system. It gets so sensitive that even while your pain tolerance is high because you're in pain all the time, even a little needle will hurt so much because the nervous system is so sensitive due to the inflammation. Yeah. So the leg pain I was talking about, after the surgery, that was gone. But the ankle pain, it was there. I experienced ankle pain throughout the journey. I mean, when I got my period and then when the symptoms got worse, the ankle pain was there. My doctors, they were like, this is something else. You should, talk to another doctor. This is not something, this is not related to endometriosis. Well, I believe it is because when my endo is fine, when the surgery has been done, when I'm taking the treatment and I'm taking the precautions, the pain is not there. But when there is a flare-up, the pain is back. So of course it's related to endometriosis.
Well, and with all of this, I mean, in the midst of all of this, the cool thing is, and yes, I mean, yeah, we could, everybody that has, and I have several friends that have endometriosis and have lived with it for decades, and it can be rough. What I kind of want to get to is what you're doing in spite of it, because you're doing some really cool stuff, and you're going yes, you had to leave school, and yes, you had to take breaks, and yes, you had to, it's not normal, and oh my gosh, where did Pearl go, and where is she, and she's not in school. But what are you doing now? You're in university right now, right? You're pursuing a degree, right?
Right.
Let's talk about what the future looks like, man, because you've got an amazing future ahead of you.
So, of course, I mean, I was working very hard my final year, my high school. That's the time when you're supposed to work so hard, and then you're looking forward to your, the best years of your life, college, right? That's what people say. So I was looking forward to it, of course. I always wanted to go to this regular college and have that experience, but when I started, dealing with my condition and everything, I realized maybe that's not for me. I cannot do that because I'm in pain most of the time, and regular college needs proper attendance. You have to go there all the time. So I told myself it's fine. I took a gap year because I was not really able to give my exams, my 12th grade exams. So I took a gap year, and then I gave my exams next year. After all of that, I got into the School of Open Learning. So I've been doing I've been pursuing my degree from there, but that's like temporary. I'm just doing my first year from there. And at the same time, I feel like when you're pursuing this career, you just don't have to sit in front of the books, and you don't really have to be present in that traditional classroom. I feel like this condition taught me so much about psychology and mental health. I cannot really learn that from any books. You cannot do that. So I started looking for things which would, give me exposure, and I would learn more about it. So I started doing this internship. I started working with neurodivergent kids. And let me tell you, it's wonderful. I learned so much. I mean, so if you talk about autism, they say, oh, autism is just that people are socially awkward. No, it's so much more than that.
Right.
So much more than that. I can be socially awkward. Doesn't mean I have autism.
That's right. Yeah. We can all be socially awkward sometimes. That's
right. It is so much more than that. And you can read so many books and do whatever, but when you actually meet the person with the condition or the disorder, you'll forget about everything.
Yeah.
So I feel like I learned so much, and I feel proud. A lot of my friends who are doing their course from regular college, they're like, you know what you're doing is so much better than what we are doing. Yeah. And I never expected them to say that, because I also wanted to do the regular college thing, but then they're like, you're studying, but at the same time getting that exposure, and you're able to choose the hours, according to your preference. Now, some days, of course, it's hard. One thing, I feel like heating patches. It's portable, and you can, just stick it to your, undergarment, and you're good to go. It will stay warm for, I guess, 8 hours if you're using a good brand. And yeah, it really helps. And if it's that kind of day, very bad, you can use a cram cream. A good cram cream can help. Yeah. And yeah, you just have to go on with it. I remember yesterday only, I had a painkiller. And why I'm saying this, because painkiller kind of became this permanent part of my life. I had to take a painkiller every other day, and of course that's not good. It was affecting. It can go so wrong in so many ways. So for 10 days, I managed my pain without taking any pain meds, and I celebrated that. I told myself, that's a victory. That's a win. But then I had to take one, and I told myself it's fine. Because some days are like that, but then again, I feel like these little things. I feel like we should celebrate this, because for a normal person, it might sound like, okay, fine, you did not take medicine. What's the big deal? For someone who has been taking medicine for 3 years, it's a huge deal. Yeah, it's a huge deal. I did not take any meds for 3 days. I don't know, but yeah, I feel like now my friends who are pursuing their degree from a regular college, they want to do what I'm doing, and I feel great. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing, but that's I have more plans. I want to pursue my the final degree, I want to study in Germany. So I'm preparing that. I'm learning the language and German exams and everything. So I'm juggling with my juggling with all of these things, internship.
Yeah.
I have my exams and everything. So yeah.
That's amazing. I can't wait to hear more about that, man. That's going to be awesome. I love Germany. Germany was such a cool country when I went over there, and it's such a cool place. So I hope you get to do that. That would be fantastic. And I'm sure you'll learn a ton over there. So, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to go to one more break, and then we're going to finish up this show with some more amazing information about what you are doing in spite of this crazy condition that you did not ask for, but you are rocking it in spite of it. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna go to another break. Everybody stick around though. We got a little bit left, and I want you to hear the rest of Pearl's story. So stick around. We'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
Hey everybody, Craig Tomanini here, founder and CEO of Ask Craig T, and I wanted to do a quick reminder about our podcast every Friday, 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. You can find us on YouTube and on all of our social media platforms, so be sure you tune in. Don't miss all the valuable information we're going to give you about how to scale your business using technology.
Hi, I'm Jake, co-founder and CEO of One Hope. My friends and I started this company in 2007 out of the back of this truck, on a mission to enrich people's lives through wine. Today, we've grown into a state-of-the-art Napa Valley winery that proudly houses a portfolio of award-winning wines which have touched lives through over 40,000 nonprofits at home and around the globe. And it's happening every day. Being rooted in local communities and contributing to initiatives that uplift neighborhoods, celebrate cultures, and promote community. It's what got us here. You see, through every bottle sold, your purchase can make a direct impact on the causes you care about. One Hope's cause of choice has given back over $10 million and counting.
Hey everyone, Coach Greg here from Living Empowered TV, where we help women live empowered lives through amazing guests, life hacks, mental, physical, and emotional health. See us on the Achieve Network, 12 o'clock Wednesdays Pacific time on E360 TV. Don't miss out.
Hey everybody! Before we bring Pearl back and finish up this amazing show with her story, I want to talk to you about Invisible Condition University, or ICU for short. Yeah, we did that on purpose. Invisible Condition University empowers you to face whatever invisible condition you or loved one may be facing by providing a community that listens, that cares, that walks with you, no matter what you're going through. You'll be part of a community that meets twice a month, so that you will have a safe place for you or your loved ones or your caregivers or anybody else that you want to bring on the call with you to, ask questions, get support, or just find some hope. Sometimes that's all you need is some hope. And hearing other people's stories can help with that. This is something I wish I would have had 10 years ago, honestly, with 4 brain surgeries since 2014. Good Lord, this would have been amazing. I cannot emphasize enough the amount of the importance of community in this, So Invisible Condition University is only $17 a month. If you go to Starbucks twice, you've spent more than that. And you can find it at invisibleconditionuniversity.com. As my gift to you for your first month of the membership, I will give it to you for free. You get a free month. It's on me. Just go to invisibleconditionuniversity.com, scan the QR code, and join us. You can try it a couple times for the month and see what you think. I guarantee you're going to love it. So join me, invisibleconditionuniversity.com, scan the QR code. And by the way, not everybody knows about this, but I want to give a little hint here. We are potentially getting ready to partner with another organization with Invisible Condition University. So I don't have all the details that I can tell you right now, but it's going to exponentially grow this to something that's going to be so amazing and so beneficial to everybody that wants to be part of it. So please come to ICU and see what it's about, and we'll see you there soon. All right, let's bring Pearl back up oh, by the way, June 3rd is the next time we'll meet for Invisible Condition University. So join us on June 3rd at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. All right, let's bring Pearl back here. And Pearl, thank you so much for being here. We have about 5 minutes left I know the time flies when you're having fun. It's the fastest hour of my day too, every time I record a show. In the last 5 minutes or so, what would you like to leave our audience with to cap your amazing story?
I'd like to say, as someone who lives with 3 chronic conditions, endometriosis, adenomyosis, and pelvic congestion syndrome, I feel like I've learned to do things scared because waiting to feel ready was wasting my life. Before this condition, I thought, okay, yeah, I have time. I can do this later. But now I do it anyways. It doesn't matter if I'm scared. I feel like this is the time I can do it. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, that's how uncertain life gets when you have a condition. Today I'm great. I'm doing this interview. Tomorrow I might not be able to get out of bed. I never know. So I try doing everything. I feel like you have to get out of your comfort zone. So yeah, that's what I'd like to say.
I love that. And it's true, because especially with an invisible condition, man, you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. You never know what the next hour is going to bring. Right. So you gotta, especially with endometriosis and adenomyosis. And I mean, those are serious conditions that can be very unpredictable. So it's true. Yeah. You gotta live every minute.
Right. You're exercising, you're having the right diet, you're doing everything. And yet, one day you'll not be able to get out of bed and you're wondering, what did I do? It was not me. I promise.
Right? Yeah, no, it's true. And and honestly, with my condition, I've had times like that too. 4 brain surgeries since 2014, man. One of them went pretty well. A couple, 2 or 3 of them didn't do, I'm still here, they went well in that respect, but the side effects from those surgeries really wreaked havoc for a while after that. And so I can relate to parts of your story in that you don't take any day for granted, because tomorrow, this hour might not be as good as the next hour, or you gotta live like this is it, so yeah. I love it.
And I feel like with your condition, you're already surviving. Let's live a little. Do whatever you want to do. Trust me, that really helps.
Exactly. Well, hey, Pearl, thank you so much for being here and for taking the time and for joining us from from so far away. I know with the video stuff like this, it's easy, but I know it takes effort, and I so appreciate you putting that effort in and being here with me. And I think we should bring you back again and update everybody on what's going on later. So
I would love that.
We'll talk about that another time to see what we can do for that. But thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it. All right, everybody. You bet. All right. Everybody, thank you for being here. If this is your first time watching, thank you. What an amazing story to hear on your first time viewing this show, right? Pearl's incredible. Thank you for being here. If you are watching on social media, please like, follow, subscribe, share, all the things. And join us for our next episode, which will be Tuesday, May 30th. To hear another amazing story of somebody living and thriving and kicking butt and taking names. I love it. I love doing this. I'm so thankful that you are here. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a wonderful day.